Well, greetings, everybody. This is Mike Rochelle joining you from Puerto Rico in San Juan. This is the furthest I've ever done a broadcast hosting assignment before, here on a little family vacation, but we had this thing scheduled a long time ago. And fortunately, Brian was able to pinch hit for Diana Stepner. So, Brian, thanks very much for coming out. How are you doing tonight?
Good. Thanks so much for having me.
It's great to see you. I'm also seeing that we have Emily Bell-Wooten, Chris and Joe and Brian and Mark Urbis on. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing great.
Excellent.
So
So does anybody want to compete on weather, on what's going on in your neck of the woods?
It's actually very pleasant here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did the sunrise look
60s.
like that this morning? Sorry, just picking on you. So, Chris, are you in town or are you traveling as well?
I am back. I was in San
Okay.
Antonio earlier this week, and now I'm home.
Yep. Brian,
Down the
where
street
is
from
home?
you.
Yeah, exactly, in Highland Village. Brian, where is home for you?
Brian Howard?
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
Grapevine, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Emily, you're on the far north. You're in Allen, correct?
Richardson.
Richardson. Okay. Close enough. Brian's in Flower Mound. Joe's in Louisville. Mark's in Grapevine.
South Lake.
Oh, sorry, South Lake. Yes, there's a distinction. It is nice.
I pay the property taxes. I got to claim the location.
Exactly. Akshay, I talked to him earlier today. He was representing us at the Augusta High Tech event last night. Took a flight out to Seattle to have a meeting and a dinner with a client, and he's getting on a red eye to come home tonight. I'm like, you are a monster. I can't do that anymore. But he has to be home tomorrow or something. So, well, anyway, I'm really excited that we're all here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and share my my slides a little bit more obviously. And this is our February chapter meeting. And it is our 75th anniversary year for AITP. We have a storied history, and we have some really exciting things that both Emily and Joe Vaughn are going to talk about later on today after we've listened and heard from the great career advice from Brian Howard. So the agenda for the evening is we're going to have the welcome, which we just did. I picked on everybody a little bit. One thing I wanted to point out that I did not when we came in. If you look in the top left-hand corner of this picture, you'll see that Dallas is right here. Can you guys see the mouse on the screen? Okay. And I'm here in Puerto Rico, and it's actually past any of the territory of the continental United States. So Puerto Rico is actually out in the Atlantic time zone. I did not know that, and I've been coming here for 35 years. I always just thought it was straight down from like New York or something, but it's hanging out there. But the reason I bring it up is because Puerto Rico's been in the news a lot lately. It is a beautiful, wonderful place with a wonderful group of people, and you can't go wrong if you come here. You'll notice that it is a sea gate, right? So one of the reasons that when there was a certain activity that happened down here in Caracas, look at how close Puerto Rico is to South America. It's pretty amazing. But anyway, it's a great place, a sea gate. It's been a part of the United States since 1898. You can come over with your driver's license with no passport and use American dollars. So wonderful place to be. That's the end of my public relations edition for Puerto Rico. Then we're going to hear from Brian. We've talked a little bit about AITP. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. Then we're going to do question and answers. Brian, this is a live question for you because we didn't have a chance to talk about it since I look purple, but I want to let everybody know that I'm not. I don't know if it's lighting or if my camera's going out, but it's the only laptop that I brought with me. I guarantee you that I'm not purple, but I look purple. So Brian, would you like to take questions as you go, or would you like to do questions and answer after you have completed your presentation?
Probably after would be good.
Okay, perfect.
But if somebody chimes in, it's not going to bother me at all. I've been in sales for a long time, so it's all good.
Very good. Then we're going to talk a little bit about chapter business, and then we'll do good night and Godspeed. So, Emily, you want to talk a little bit about this event framework that you put together for us this year?
Sure. So we have designed our 75th year to have a virtual event on a monthly basis. We claim the second Thursday of the month. I'm trying to get that right.
That is correct.
There's something on every Wednesday and every Thursday and every Tuesday, so I'm trying to keep them all track. So the second Thursday of every month, most of them are virtual. We will have a face-to-face event quarterly, whether it's our monthly meeting or maybe a get together or a tech talk or a partner event. We have those scheduled. And then we also are planning, since it's our 75th year, as we start to scope and get more members in, we'd like to start offering bigger events. So the first event that we're having this year is a partnership with Mind and Machine, who's the AI networking group that I'm also helped to found. And it's growing like gangbusters in the community, talking about emerging technology and AI. And that is on March 3rd. It's coming up. So we're co-sponsoring that. And if you're a member, you have been receiving emails about it. If you've connected with myself or Mike or our board team members, we've been posting about it on LinkedIn as well. We have an excellent panel that's coming up. Mo Jamis, who's the Chief Information Officer of Consumer and Business Banking at US Bank. We have, let's see, who else do we have here? We have Yeshwant, and I cannot say his last name correctly, so I'm not even going to try, but he's the chair of the AI Working Group and Government Blockchain Association. We have Monica Kumar, who works in AI and autonomous solutions at ePrime AI. And then we have Wade Myers, who's one of the partners at the group that I work in over in Fort Worth, Eagle Venture Fund and Eagle Venture Studios. They have about 9 to 15 different companies in their portfolio that they're working on at a time. And one of them is called MythWorks. MythWorks, they think, is the first AGI brain. And this is really huge because it's coming out of Fort Worth, not Silicon Valley. So we're really excited about this. And registration is now open for people that are not sponsors. We tried to make it selective for executives and sponsors and AITP Lone Star. People could register first. But as of 2 days ago, we opened it up to the public and we're getting close to capacity. So if anybody is interested in attending that, pay your membership fees for AITP and I'll send you the link. And we'll get you in the space because we're going to start running out of it. But these are the kind of events that we're trying to invest in, thoughtful, curative, and they're supposed to be focused on not just executives, but also on students. So we're trying to do a mentorship between the two and have events that are a little bit more experiential. So we're excited about our 75th year, and we hope you'll join us.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Emily. So we get to Brian. And so the really cool thing about being able to introduce Brian is I'm guessing it was 10 years ago when he was a partner of mine when I was the president of the AITP Dallas chapter. So it may have gone back that far, if not AITP DFW, because we later changed the name. But have known him for a long time. He's always been a giver in the community. It was one of my first calls when we got the word that CompTIA was giving us the brand back in 2024. So he's been our longest partner since the beginning of AITP Lone Star. So Brian, thanks for that. And look forward to continue doing great things with you.
Yeah, great to see you. Appreciate it.
Yep. And then by way of introduction, obviously you can see what's on the screen, but I have a bio that I'd like to read as well. So Brian Howard has 20 years of sales management experience teaching people how to sell at 8 different companies. His focus has always been creating repeatable sales processes to teach his sales teams. He had a job loss in 2016 and turned his job search into a sales process. He immediately started teaching this process to friends when they needed jobs. During the 2020 pandemic, when companies were laying off millions of employees, he was laid off and spent several months improving and adding to his job search process. In his difficult 8-month job search, he had almost 300 recruiters searching for him, using automation to reach over 1,700 employers, and had 279 interviews, creating a LinkedIn strategy that attracted 2 CEOs to reach out to him with jobs. Friends suggested Brian create an online course since he had documented his approach and was already teaching friends. JobSeeker Pro and the Brave 5-step job search was born. So Brian, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and ask you to share yours.
Great.
And the floor is yours.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Great to see you and appreciate you a lot. And, I tell you what, I have known Mike for a long time. And when I was hospitalized, quite riskily sick with COVID, Mike was continually, keeping up with me, checking on me, praying for me. I'll never forget him for that. And so that's really a true friend and not just a business partner. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So thanks so much for the warm welcome. I'm going to, first of all, tonight go over a brief introduction, talk about career readiness. So this is the phase where you prepare yourself so that you're growing in your career and you don't lose your job. But if you do lose your job, you're ready for that. There are steps to take. And then career reboot. If you're in a job search or you anticipate this could happen, or with all the disruption that's happening, you want to just be smarter about when you have a career reboot happen. We're going to cover some of those strategies as well. A little bit of a bio on me. So I've been married for over 25 years, girl dad, live in Grapevine, Texas, 27 years of technology experience overall. A lot of that in sales management. I've navigated 3 job searches now over the age of 40. My first one was at 44. So it's just been an interesting ride seeing what that looks like with a job search when you're not 22 anymore. Founded JobSeeker Pro in 2022. And I've been helping a lot of people at that, since that point, actually. So we not only help individuals, but we also work with a school. And whenever those students are retraining and going through tech certifications, we help them as well. So it's sort of like one-on-one people as well as from that school that we work with. So how did I learn JobSeeker Pro secrets? Well, it started with a career setback in 2016. I was very naive. I started this, I interviewed for this company. It was a sales job. The territory needed work. The sales manager promised me he'd give me plenty of time. You guys probably know where this goes. Despite early successes, he let me go in a few months. And I'd never been on a job search. I'd been promoted. I'd been recognized. I tried to help other people, try to go above and beyond. So I never had to be on a job search. So it was kind of thrust upon me. But my family, my dad, particularly, we work hard. That's our solution. We just work hard. And so I just threw effort into my job search. And by applying to hundreds of jobs, what happens when you work hard is you have a lot of at-bats and you can learn from that, right? So if you're paralyzed and you don't do the work, then you also don't learn. And so it's kind of like a bad cycle. But this is the virtuous version, which is just threw myself at that. And because I applied to so many jobs, I started to see what worked on that first job search. And what worked came from my sales experience. I kept having recruiters and hiring managers say that they hadn't really seen job seekers do some of the stuff that I was doing. And I thought that was normal because I had all this sales experience. I was just selling myself. And it turns out the interview was a sales presentation. The resume, the cover letter were samples of my work. That's a lot like a sales proposal. And finding jobs and landing interviews, that was sales prospecting. I had 18 years at that point teaching salespeople and leading them. And those same strategies I found were very easy to translate into job search. So it's interesting. In fact, the strategies really worked. In fact, 2 CEOs approached me with jobs. These were the little LinkedIn messages from them. And so that I really saw like, okay, this is interesting. I'm not just hunting, but I'm attracting as well. So that was really interesting. And that was from my pandemic job search. But I had, it turns out my whole life led to this. 18 years teaching salespeople, my first job search, I turned, my initial effort there of turning my job search into a sales campaign, multiple job offers at that time. And I started teaching, as Mike was saying, I started teaching friends. I'm one of these people that I like to teach stuff. And so, it's like, if you're going to learn how to do something really hard, and if you enjoy teaching, then it's kind of easy to reach out to a friend who needs that. And then my impossible job search during the 2020 pandemic, where I really had to refine things and really try some new stuff, which I will be sharing those practical things tonight. Of course, not all of them. It's impossible in a short session, but some really good stuff practically tonight that you'll see. So I do want to talk about the time, though, when you do have a job. So I want to focus on the readiness time and some preparatory steps that you can take to grow in your career overall, but also defend about what happens. If something were to happen, I want you ready for that. So we're going to talk about that first. So one of the things you really want to do is you want to have work examples. Layouts are unexpected usually, typically. You're shut out of your computer with no warning, right? You all know that story. So the things that you've done at work then are lost and inaccessible once you lose access. You may have changed the world for them, and you no longer have any way of, no documentation of that. You need examples of your work for your job search. You really, really do. And so the solution is set a reminder monthly on your work calendar to send home some work samples. Now listen, I'm not saying sensitive stuff. If it's really awesome and it's sensitive, you're going to have to anonymize that before you send anything home. Do this in an ethical way. However, do it. Do not be caught where you're shut out of your computer. You're on an instant job search. And you weren't ready. You need work examples. So set a reminder and be good about that. Just drag that into an email folder at home. And then, standing out with work samples is really something that it's one of the tricks that I talk about in my program. But you want to send those home to show the impact that you can make. Those can be anything can be a work sample, honestly. A project that you finished, problem that you solved, the customer you helped. Maybe you got a nice email from them. That'd be good as part of a PowerPoint. You can crop that and put it on a slide about customer impacts. There's all kinds of neat stuff you can do. A presentation that you gave that was really stand out. Maybe a training you gave. Compliment you received from leadership, an award. Any of those things can they can become part of a PowerPoint that kind of outlines, above and beyond the resume, who you are, what you can do, and that kind of thing. Examples of work examples from my job search. This was a little simple spreadsheet, but it's a little planner to create sort of an outbound sales campaign, a little planner. This was a training that I came up with a company that I worked for, and it's custom training content that I created. So that's a nice little example of that. And I do have not just a little screenshot here, I have the actual sample. So it doesn't mean that you just create a PowerPoint with like a little screenshot. If you've got the full tool, you can show that too. For example, in this one, I have like probably 20 pages of sales teaching. And so I could show that as a work sample as the whole deck, right? This is a little customer success plan or a little customer success tracker that I built when I worked for a company who didn't have the money to go buy customer success software. I didn't even think we needed it. I mean, we had 2 products. I was just like, I think we can track what the customer has, what the next steps are, and that kind of thing. So I created this tracker, which solved the problem. Or how about an event? This is a particular event we did for GameStop in Grapevine, Texas. We were on the big screen during a Call of Duty launch. My engineer, Daniel, is helping them with monitoring using our software. Really cool event. They were just thrilled that we were there to support them. But these are all stories, and using stories and using work samples together is a great way to stand out on your job search. But again, you got to be sending this stuff home, right? Now that's on your camera, so you probably have that. A lot of these you don't have, so you're going to want to send that home. And then one of the biggest day-to-day things, and this sounds simple, and it's just not because it's hard, but you want to make a big impact when you have a job. Make a really big impact. Be proactive, tackle really hard things. But in my experience, I've worked with thousands of people. In my experience, extensively as part of Job Seeker Pro, people struggle with having few or no impact stories at work. I ask them, things like, well, can you tell me a story about a transformation that you made? And they don't have anything, or they have a hard time thinking of those things, right? So you need examples. So bottom line is, to help you get the next job, you have to impact your current job and write down what you did, right? You need examples of impacts that you made at work to help you land the next job. Find a problem at work, something that if you see a problem more than twice, if you see a problem 3 times or greater, here's the thing, here's the good news. If you saw it's probably close to your area or your role or your department, right? Why not tackle that? Build consensus with other people, get their input as well, right? You can solve it as a team too, but you're still the initiator. Solve that problem, document that success, ideally have some numbers about the success, and then repeat, right? And now you've got a great work sample. And guess what? You kind of protected yourself, to some extent. You can't really control a layoff, but to some extent, if you get in the habit of finding a problem and sort of being a little bit of an entrepreneur about that and finding that, you can a little bit protect yourself, but you're also training yourself, making yourself better, smarter, faster, and giving yourself examples of work that will be great to market yourself on your job search. So it's funny how it's just like doing the right thing helps you now and later. Okay. I do want to talk about the phase, though, when you are in a job search. And even if you're not right this second, you really want to be ready. You really do. So some of this is going to be important, even like the LinkedIn setup that we'll talk about, some of that kind of stuff. So it's important to be ready. And some of the stuff you can do even when you have a job to be ready. And then some of this is great for the reboot period, if a layoff does happen. So this is kind of a really important visual metaphor to be thinking about, right? This is the job search. This is really what it's like. It's a lot of fish in the sea, right? The average job search has 250 applications, and that's U.S. government. You and I know that the way it's going, it's worse. It's worse than that. But let's go ahead and use government, statistics here, right? But talk to me about this. With all these fish in the sea, you're one of them. What are you doing to stand out? What's your plan to stand out? I first thought of this question at a job fair. October 2024, I was at University of North Texas, Denton. They had a job fair down there in South Dallas. And I had 3 young people come up to me who were looking for jobs. And I don't know how I thought of the question. I just said, what is your plan to stand out? All 3 of them had a look of fear. And I never realized that was such an insightful question. But when I ask you for your job search, what is your plan to stand out? My guess is you might have a similar reaction. Okay, let's do another part of this visual metaphor, right? So you've got the fish, swimming around in this circle. You're trying to stand out, because there's a lot of fish in the sea. Well, when you shine a light over here, just shine a simple light, you can see that now that's where my eye is going to go, right? My point is, it doesn't take much to shine a light and stand out on a job search. It really does not. And so the good news is just doing something a little bit different. Even if one of these fish just kind of wiggled a little bit, you might even notice them then, right? So that's the good news. I want to encourage you that you can stand out from all those online applications and not just be drowning with all the other fish. Let's talk first about readiness. Now, this part is actually important, even when you do have a job. And I have people, when I go through this particular content, routinely say, "Oh shoot, I was invisible." And I learned this the hard way during my pandemic job search. I have no idea what happened between 2016 and 2020 because I don't remember changing that. But apparently I was invisible. So what happens is I'm like 3 weeks into my pandemic job search, working day and night, and it turns out I was invisible. Just a terrifying moment. So how you're going to fix that is you're going to click on the down arrow here in the top right of your LinkedIn, and then you're going to click on Settings and Privacy. You're going to go in there, and you're going to click on Visibility. Get this little menu here. The first thing you're going to do is on the drop downs, the one that you want is your name and headline. So that's the menu item that you want. Okay. Now you're about a third of the way there already. You already have improved your situation. But don't stop there. Go ahead and go click back over here to visibility. Now we're going to go here. Now this one, when you click it, this is not a drop down. This is actually going to take you somewhere else. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's click that. And now it's going to take you to this little simulator/editor. The left side over here is a simulator of what your LinkedIn looks like to other people who are not logged in. So it's kind of a public view of your LinkedIn. And then the right side over here has a number of editor features that we want to use. So the first one is you want to slide this little slider over here that basically turns your profile to your visibility to on. So that's your first thing to do. And now I'm going to scroll down the same page here. And when I do scroll down, this is the area that you see. And what you want to do is you want to next set your profile photo to public. Now, people don't like having their photo on LinkedIn sometimes, and I understand that. But guess what? You get to choose the photo that you have, so you can make sure that it's nice. You don't have to be embarrassed about a photo or not like to be public or too overly private, right? This is something that you want to do. So when you're on a job search, and I just think anytime, most of these things are just anytime, even when you have a job, have a photo, right? You get to control what it looks like. Next, set your profile selections all to this green to show here. For example, if you have education, what are you gonna do? Like not show that, right? So if you don't have this slider over here, no one's gonna see it. You want to have, so whether you're on a job search or not, all these settings just make you more robust, more complete. For example, if you didn't show a background photo, here's what it looks like to me. It looks like that you either are disorganized, you're hiding something, like I don't know what you'd be hiding, but hiding something, or you're overly private. Like none of those are good outcomes. You forgot, right? None of those are good outcomes. So all these little tiny tweaks are really important for you, okay? And I know we're recording this tonight, so you can check this out. You can rewatch it and whatnot. I know that you're gonna be able to do that. All right, as you fill out your profile, let's go a little bit deeper. And by the way, again, we're still in the material that this is great for before you lose your job, which I hope is never, but it's just kind of career development and when you do lose a job. Okay, this is all the stuff still is kind of both phases of life. But as you fill out your LinkedIn profile, remember two things. This is important. So there's actually a mindset thing. This is an advertisement. Your LinkedIn is not your Facebook. This is an advertisement about you for your career purposes. So be detailed and be creative. And then it's a search engine. Every word can get you found. And that's how those tools work is one of the big things is that they operate based on keywords. So when you're looking for a job, you want to have those keywords. So be thinking about sprinkling those throughout your LinkedIn profile. By the way, also your resume for that. All right, picture-wise, have a professional-looking profile picture. Now, there's a lot of AI tools that I don't think very many of them are free. I know these guys have a free trial. These guys are not free. This particular screenshot is from tryitonai.com. They're not real expensive, but what you do is you upload your smartphone, just an awful basic smartphone photo. You upload that, and then they will transform that and they'll put a nice suit on you and stuff. So yeah, you'll have a whole menu. It's a few minutes of work to just upload a terrible picture and have AI fix it for you. As with any AI, I'll give you a few thoughts. When you look at this little palette of samples here, she has black hair. She's on a black background, right? That's not good, right? His is fine. I mean, I would love it if it wasn't just a plain background, but it's good. Hers is too cartoony, right? I think we can all see that's very cartoony. His, I do like it, and I love those blurred city backgrounds. I love those, but kind of too chill, kind of too relaxed for a job search, right? Hers is good. Hers is cool if you're doing like a New Mexico coffee table book, right? Like, let's not do like that is awesome. And by the way, I said that because New Mexico is my favorite place to go. And I have coffee tables from them. But a coffee table book is not what LinkedIn is. So you don't want a black and white, you want a color photo, right? Otherwise, she looks very, very professional, but the black and white part is what's getting us on that one. Headline. So the area that people usually call a title on LinkedIn is actually called a headline. And you want to have that sets you apart for your desired job. Usually they say 2 to 3 lines. A lot of times people will separate the content they'll do like keywords, catchy keywords in the headline that talk about your strengths, kind of your role, kind of what you've done, just keywords, little group, 1 to 3 word pairs of words separated by usually that vertical. A lot of people separated by that little vertical tower right there on your keyboard. I don't know what that's called, but that looks really nice. About section, when you scroll down on your LinkedIn profile, there's an about section. So it's pretty close to the top. A lot of people really ignore that. They leave it blank, or it's boring stuff like 23 years of progressive servant leadership and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, awesome. I mean, everybody says they have servant leadership. It's a little bit, we're probably past using that. It's just too common. So let's be a little bit more creative. So I give people an idea of one way to be creative in the about section to be catchy. The first one is start with a story at the very top. Some kind of impact that you made, right? Kind of a colorful, cool story, something that from a career perspective you did that you are proud of and it might be kind of memorable. Then have a space and then maybe have bullets of some strengths, 5 to 7, let's say, strengths, things that people say about you, things that you're good at. Those would be great. People will skim those and they'll appreciate that. And then at the very bottom of that about section, you can have 20, 25 keywords so that you can be found by search engines. So keywords could be like a certification, a title, a type of task that you did, tools you've used, anything that could be possibly searched for the type of role you think you would be going for in a future job search or if you're on a current one. So SEO is the third one to be thinking about here in the about section. So those are always good to do. In your experience, when you scroll down your LinkedIn profile, the experience section is kind of what you would consider like your resume right there in LinkedIn. And you do want to match your resume. So one of my students from that tech school I mentioned I work with, his dates on his resume were real different. Even the company names were really different between resume and LinkedIn. So you can't tell if that's innocent or if he's hiding something. No one knows. So because people are kind of protective, they assume bad. Right, so don't have inconsistencies of dates and company names and things like that, or titles. Have that all consistent so there's parity and it's not a distraction. Bullets over paragraphs is real big too on this experience section. These long, no one's going to read a long paragraph on your LinkedIn. A short one and then a few bullets is okay though. Share your key response. My recommendation on your resume and on your LinkedIn in this experience section is the very first bullet, share your roles and responsibilities. And I've come to that after reviewing a million resumes. But the reason why is, everything, if I know about your roles and responsibilities, then all the bullets below that have better context. If your bullets are all random things, like a story and a certification that you got, and then some of your roles and responsibilities, if they're all over the place, then I have a hard time understanding your profile. You don't come across very organized and thoughtful. If you use a pattern on your LinkedIn and on your resume, and the first bullet is always roles and responsibilities, everything below that really is more understandable by the brain, okay? And we're going to use cognitive ease, whatever we can, just making it easier for people's brains, right? Be dummy proof. You want to also have stories, little bullets. By the way, a bullet doesn't have to be one line. A bullet could be 2.5 lines, 2 lines, right? So a short story about an accomplishment there on your experience section and your resume for that matter. Stories are huge. They're memorable. They draw us in. In your stories, illustrate your successes with numbers. So a number could be like, they budgeted for this project, 21 weeks, and I got that done in 14 weeks by doing a new process X, Y, and Z, right? I work with a lot of IT people, so most of my examples are IT related. Another story could be that I saved $21 million in the first year by implementing this new process or this new technology, right? Another one could be we increased call handling time by 21% after 3 months of implementing our new process and software, right? So those are all numbers. Now you might say, Brian, I really want to be ethical, and I do not have those numbers. I don't. Okay, and listen, I want to be ethical too, but you have to have some numbers. So what I tell people is, in your best conscience, come up with the best estimate that you can, rather than having nothing there. Make up a number, and that sounds terrible, but I've come to this the hard way. because the people that I work with do not have numbers. They never do. They have like one thing with a number usually. And so I'm saying you have a difference that can be quantified with a number. Come up with one that you can rest at night about, something ethical, okay? But have numbers and then proper names. Let's tell you this story. Is it better for you? Is it catchier in your experience section of your LinkedIn and your resume for that matter? Is it better for you to say that you did some program management for an automotive, or is it better to say that you did program management for Ford? Right? It's not even close. There's several psychological reasons why that's better. So use proper names whenever you can, and use numbers and tell stories. Okay, so that's good. Some good little tips. All right, your LinkedIn background. This is what the default looks like. That's terrible. That's another example of like you look disorganized and like you don't know what you're doing. Right. By the way, almost as bad as using the ones that are out of the box in LinkedIn. Don't do that. Also, don't be political. We know, we're proud of you. You're political and you're activist. Great. Do not do that on LinkedIn though. And LinkedIn has some of the political stuff. Just don't do it, right? It's not the time, right? Go make a difference, but LinkedIn is just, let's keep that real tame, okay? All right, this is what Melissa did. She went to I do a public training, a free one actually. In fact, it's recorded now. I'll have a link to that at the very end. But anyway, she went through that and she created this great little background for herself. LinkedIn allows you to customize that background photo on your profile. The way that Melissa did this was she went to canva.com, and you can use a free account, which does have some LinkedIn background photos, or you can temporarily upgrade to a pro account. They give you a 30-day free trial, so you can access some of the nicer ones. I'm pretty sure this is one of the free ones, though, that Melissa did. Go to create a design right there on Canva, and you literally just type in LinkedIn background photo, and that'll come up, and then you'll get to choose some of the ones that are going to be nice for you. And you can put in some, kind of sell yourself here on the screen there. Many options will come up. Create your creative professional one, download it, and then upload it into your LinkedIn profile background photo. Seriously, you can do this one in about 12 to 15 minutes, and it goes from terrible or, by the way, I live in Dallas, DFW area, and I know some of you have the Dallas skyline or the Fort Worth skyline, and mine did for years, and that's okay. It's just that it's not working very hard for you. Like, okay, we know you're in Dallas. It's like nothing wrong with it, but it's not exactly selling yourself. All right, so go to your open now. Okay, we're going to shift into when you're either on an active job search because you got laid off or something, or maybe you're on kind of a stealth job search where you want to be open to be found and stuff like that. So that's where you're going to mess around with your open to work preferences. So you're going to go into your profile like we are here. You're going to click on the blue and white button, open to, and then you're going to select finding a new job. And that brings you to this menu over here, about 3 different menu areas. This is the first one. So first of all, we want to know what kind of work you're open to. And that has to do with titles. So choose 5 types of job titles you would likely be most competitive for. There's a little trick with this though, okay? So there's a really good idea. If you go, especially if you have a paid AI account, you can go ask AI to say, here's my resume, upload your resume. Here's my resume. Here's, kind of give it some comments about what you're looking for and say, can you please go search the web, like Indeed, Glassdoor, other job sites, and find out for these types of roles, what are the roles that are, that have the highest distribution of jobs. I'll give you an example. If you said, and inside my program, I have an AI that does this for you, by the way, but you can do this yourself. So if you said, hey, I'm an IT project manager, right now, and I want to work for the Fort Worth Zoo. Okay, that's cool. But if you said zoo project manager, there's probably like 4 jobs in the whole country, right? If you just said IT project manager, there's like 27,000. So it matters a lot how you type these in right here. And it's worth a little bit of AI work, a little bit of AI vetting out your titles. But anyway, choose 5 titles, okay? Now, a lot of times, and you guys have seen these too, they'll have like 2 jobs listed. And what I'm saying is they give you 5 slots. Do you want to be found for 2 things or do you want to be found for 5 things, right? So make sure you fill those 5 slots. All right, let's move into location types. So
Hey, Brian.
I know a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead.
just time check. We have about 8 minutes before we need to move into Q&A.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. So in terms of the open to work preferences, the location types really matter. So I know a lot of you would like to do the remote jobs. That's great. I work remotely right now. But the problem is you can negotiate what hybrid really means. Maybe you can make it closer to remote. My own daughter did that. Or on site. Maybe that could be negotiated to more hybrid, right? So go ahead and select all three, because it kind of goes back to, do you want to be found for one type of job, or do you want to be found for three? So it's just more. People, by the way, making the changes that I'm talking about, people routinely tell me that in 1 week they triple their LinkedIn views just from the tweaks that I'm talking about. Okay, for locations on site, I've actually had people get jobs from what I'm about to tell you. So this area also has multiple slots. I'm not sure how many exactly, but I think at least 5. I've seen 5 before down here. But if you could live in Houston, or if you could live in Baltimore, put those down here too, so you can be found. So I had Amy, who lived in Austin, but her fiance lived, and the whole family lived in Baltimore. She put it both on there, and she now lives in Baltimore. So that's the thing about this on site. You can actually be found in multiple areas if your family situation is able to be more mobile. So think about that way. Okay, now we talked a little bit about how the open to work has to do with either a passive job search or an active job search. So that's when we're going to talk about that now. So if you want the banner and you want to be on more of an active job search where you have maximum visibility because you lost your job or something, then that's the radio button that you click right here. You get the banner, they kind of boost you too. LinkedIn does. Now, if you're on a passive job search or you're just kind of in curious mode, then you can select this one right here. You get no banner, and they actually hide your job search from your employer too, because most employers use the LinkedIn recruiter tools. That will not work to find you. So you'll be able to be safe. Nothing's perfect, but you'll be able to be safe. Okay. So that's what you do if you're on a stealth job search, and that's how you choose. All right. So I'll talk a little bit about, because I probably have about 3 or 4 minutes left. So I'll talk a little bit about kind of attraction. So I mentioned how I had a couple of CEOs find me during my job search. Well, how did that happen? It was from my posting. So a lot of people do not post at all. Or sometimes people even post negatively, which really hurts you. But the job attraction magic of posting on LinkedIn frequently, people in your industry will find you, right? So if you're in the water testing field and you post about water testing, then you're going to attract more people in that field, right? So people in your industry will find you if you're posting things that are kind of relevant to your industry, especially. You also showcase your career knowledge and your ability to people. You remind people that you're on a search, and you grow your network of connections. You remember, there's the little trick there. Those 2 CEOs who approached me for a job, that's how they found me, was through a discipline of posting. This is one of my students. She took my free class, and she basically started doing posting, and she got 4 job interviews. This one, for some reason, went viral. I have no idea why. But this is, she got 4 interviews from it. So yeah, just cupcakes. I'll wrap it up, I guess, with this, and then I'll probably go to if you guys want to see the rest of this, just go to the link that I'll give you at the end, and you can see the rest of this. But there's 5 types of posting that you can do when you're on job search, especially. First one is, what about helping the community of other job seekers, right? That's what I did during the pandemic, especially, is I would post strategies that were working for me, right? So again, you're giving back. It's funny because you're showing that you're giving back, but you're also showing some strategies and some thoughtfulness. You're showing positivity, because you could be just, crying, but instead you're posting and you're helping other people and sharing, right? So it shows a certain amount of resilience, you know what I mean? And also giving back. Another one is just very short inspirational. So I went from I contrasted there. You go from real long to really short. A short inspirational post like this one: outwork, outprepare, outlast, outhelp, outcare, right? And that's like, 7 or 8 words. But that's how I encouraged myself that day during the pandemic. And I thought, you know what? If that encourages me, if that gives me hope and resilience, let me share that. This one too, you don't have to be an author. You can post things that are beneficial. This one was from the pandemic. I talked about being careful with your mind and not consuming too much negativity. So I happened to post this Tony Robbins. I still am not connected to Ian to this day, but he posted it and then I reposted it with some hashtags. Right? I still don't know who that is. I should probably go connect to him. And I'm about done here. You can also post things that are mentioning someone else. You can tag them. Something in this case, Rob, when I worked for him or I worked with him at Riverbed, he had some really interesting lessons. I posted on him, and I also, by the way, picture posts also are a really good thing. Even though it's a short post, a picture does speak 1,000 words. And then finally, this is one. You can see. It's funny. It's pandemic. You can see the stress on my face. But I showed up. I made myself do a video. But even if you don't do the video part, post the expertise. That's the main point of this little picture. It's not the video where I'm stressed. But the point is, I posted expertise for my field. 2 sales engagement techniques that have had good effect on me, et cetera, right? And then you click more and you get to see the whole thing. So expertise from your field, that's how you're going to attract people as well. So you're showing, resilience and giving back. You're showing sharing and ideas. You're showing, using pictures with 1,000 words. You're showing inspirational things. So that's the point. The last comment I make before I go to my wrap-up slide, where I'll give you my link, is, LinkedIn has a scheduling tool. So you can spend an hour on Sunday night. And frankly, this is all easier with AI to give you ideas. But write your post, use some pictures, post those on, or write them on Sunday night, use the LinkedIn scheduling tool, and you'll be able to drop those Monday through Friday. So now you can focus on your job search while you're marketing yourself, because those are being automatically scheduled. The last thing I'll give you, actually, we almost made it. Last thing I'll give you is my wrap-up slide, which just reminds you guys the job search is a very competitive time. What's your plan to stand out? And you can watch my full 90-minute training at jobseeker.pro/fast. You don't even have to work with me. It's completely free. If you love it and you want to work with me, then there's a great discount at the end. If not, that's my gift, and it really does make a difference. So, questions on anything? Yeah.
So you focused on a couple of things that I took notes on. Using work examples, that's a great idea. Case studies for problems you solved. I don't think you said it exactly that way, but I think of it as case studies, right? Because it's things that you accomplished that are not necessarily in your job description, where you went above and beyond. I thought that was an awesome tip.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to stand out? That's an awesome attitude, I think, in any situation, right?
Yeah.
Especially in sales, but also in marketing yourself. The making sure you're visible, that's an important part, especially for those that are not very active on LinkedIn, and sometimes want to hide from folks. Salespeople, Joe, they don't want to answer those calls, or they don't want to get those calls, so they'll sometimes change their names and things. And frankly, a lot of CISOs do that too. They will have their name partially blocked so that it's not easy for them to be found. But in the job search situation, you obviously need to do that. I think Emily is trying to ask a question or something. I'm not sure exactly. Does anybody see what that was?
Do you want me to stop sharing, by the way? It's up to you.
I think you already have.
Oh, did I? Oh.
At least on my screen.
Oh, okay.
My question was, a lot of people say not to have the looking for work circle. Thoughts, is the stigma changing? Because in every other webinar that people are saying is you are dinged and nobody wants to hire you because you're desperate. It's horrible.
Yeah, that is a really sad thing. And it's hard to control what people think. But I will say that LinkedIn did a study. If people want to check this out on my profile, I have it featured. You have to scroll over a little bit, but there's a video they did where they just studied it, and people have better success in their job search with the banner. I will say that people with so many layoffs over the past 3 years, especially, people are pretty immune to, and people have a little bit more empathy now because everybody knows someone who's been through that. So I think it's okay to do. And the problem is the math, or, the science is, because they studied it, you're going to outperform if you have the banner. But I do understand the feeling, 100%.
Good thoughts.
I want to give you guys a bonus thing that we didn't get to, which is actually, I'll give you 2 bonus things. Number 1 is you can use AI to do your interviewing. So upload your resume and the job description and a link to the company where you're interviewing, and ask ChatGPT to do, you have to have the Plus account for this, by the way, but put it on voice mode and ask it to interview you and give you some feedback. And it works awesome. Yeah, it's really, really, really good.
That's pretty cool.
The best interview in the world. I mean, it's like, what's the IQ of ChatGPT? You're going to have the best interview. You're going to be so sharp after just 4 practice rounds that you're going to be much more ready. The problem is that we all lose that, we lose a job, and your first several interviews are pretty weak. So this basically completely eliminates that problem of being rusty, because now you've practiced out loud via voice. So yeah.
Very cool. Now, Brian, I'm going to flip quickly to the slide that I share every month here. I'm going to make sure that the information is still up to date. And then I'll go back.
Yep.
So is this still available as well? This
Yes.
jobseeker.pro/AITP?
Yep, it for sure. Yep.
Okay. So much of the material that you've covered here is available for our members at that location, correct?
100%. Yep.
Okay, very good. Just wanted to make sure of that. Well, Brian, this has been pretty exciting. I really appreciate the going over ground that most of us on this call have had before, but especially for younger people or people, to your point, who have never been laid off. There are a lot of people who've had 20 or 30-year careers, and they find at the end of their career that this kind of happens, and it's a little bit shocking. So I think that your very positive approach will help them to face it in a way that will get them more successful faster. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Robbie.
Hey, Brian, is the link in that page the link that you were referring to?
That link is the AITP specific one, so we should all use that one, and that will still get you to the free training. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Brian. So, Brian, you're welcome to stay with us. We're going to go through a little bit of business and would love your feedback on it, because you're one of our partners.
Perfect.
So the cool thing, just like Emily said, we're doing some in-person meetings this year. Next March 12th, for members, if this is a free meeting, we're having it in El Caprices in Southlake, Mark. So Jason Buffington is what I like to call one of the OG data protection managers. He was the product manager for Microsoft Data Protection Manager back when System Center was brand new, when I was at Microsoft. And he lives here in town. He's going to have a great conversation about navigating the modern market landscape. We're going to do that at El Caprices, and we're looking forward to our members joining us there. There will be a fee for anyone who is not a member of $25, which will still be a gift because it's a pretty nice place. And then in April, Emily, do you want to talk a little bit about Tori? You know her, and we want to introduce her to me.
Sure. So Tori, Begg, and I are helped create Mind and Machine. I guess Tori and Tim Mehta had this conversation over a napkin lunch. You know how most brilliant ideas are done. And then they pulled in a couple of their friends in AI, and Mind and Machine was born. But she kind of has a dual role. She's at V Digital Services, I believe, and then she also does consulting for the Dallas Business Journal. Anyway, she's a young gal and exciting, and she is in AI adoption. So she has worked with teams for this large agency that she's in to be able to implement AI systems at a variety of companies, most larger because most of their companies are larger groups. But she is going to be speaking about those implementations, what went right, what went wrong, what people are adopting, how long it takes them to adopt AI, things like that. And that's kind of what I had asked her to focus on, because I think that that's a really valuable thing for everyone. They're asking now is, how did you do it? And how do I do it the way you did? Or how do I do it so it's successful? I think 2026 is the year that we're looking at the ROI of AI instead of the fluff of AI. So she'll be able to talk about that.
Absolutely. And I asked her to focus mostly on the successes because we've heard all the disaster stories. I've actually written about them, but I think she has a great view and a youthful and exciting perspective. So she'll be great for us. And then Diane Stepner, who had an issue with tonight's timing, we were able to get her scheduled for May 14th. And she wrote an article in LinkedIn, Brian, talking about your example. I read the article and I was intrigued with it. I reached out to her to ask her to speak. She's a speaker and a coach in Silicon Valley. She's going to talk about we are all builders now. And it's kind of about this idea that there are no more product managers, there are no more project managers in Silicon Valley. They're being squeezed out of the business because they're getting more real, I guess, with engineering that actually is responsible for driving results. So anyway, I think it's going to be a phenomenal conversation, and I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, we have more information about each of those. I also wanted to point out Mark Urbis is here. We had an extraordinary conversation on January 8th. The re-recording happened about a week after, which this recording will actually happen a week after as well. And it's online on AITP. So the best way to find old meetings, especially if you knew who it was that was speaking, is just to put AITP Lone Star and then Mark Urbis, and you'll find all of the places where you can find that recording. So thanks again, Mark. That was an awesome conversation. The idea that I had here is just to kind of like lay out all of the individuals that we have that are already active in our chapter. We have our board of directors. We have an advisory board that's continuing to grow. We have member volunteers. We have partners, and we have the ability to like, comment, and share. So one of the easiest things to do whenever either Emily posts as AITP or as herself on behalf of AITP, or I post on behalf of AITP or vice versa, is for you to like the thing, if you like what we're doing here at AITP, and then comment on it, what you like about what you see. And then you can copy the comment and then share the message with your comment as your intro to the ecosystem. And that will help us to grow drastically. So if you can just do that, like, comment, and share, it's pretty easy. And that'll help us grow from a membership perspective. I think I'd like to get Joe to talk a little bit about Work Ready Academy, because I think we've already talked about all of the value that we have, but this one, of any of the things that we're doing, I'm most excited about. So Joe, you want to tell us about the 7 certs that you're working on getting established in our platform?
I do. I'm kind of glad Brian was here tonight, because along with the theme of career development, we've been working on taking advantage of the training that's available through our membership, and it can be used at any stage of your career, whether you're IT or another discipline. So if you know anything about our membership, we're not just IT professionals. We have sales, we have marketing, we have project managers that have a technology bent. So a lot of different skills and capabilities in our membership. And the reality is the world is changing very fast. So we've taken over 9,000 courses from an advancednet.labs library, and we boiled them into 7 certificates that range anywhere from 1 hour of training to 40 hours of training. Topics include AI basics and using generative AI to increase your productivity and creativity. It's you want to be a software engineer, take some basic software engineering basic certificate. Or if you really want to become a data engineer, learn Python, and we'll a data engineer in this world of AI. Along with that, we have a lot of people in our membership that are moving from individual contributor to management and leadership roles. So we have another certificate that we call Leadership Ready. And if you just want to experiment with our certificates, we have a very fun build a game with AI. It's about an hour long. You should give it a try.
Awesome. So Joe, how much would these cost if you were not a member?
Yeah, if you were not a member, we've done some research. We've seen prices ranging anywhere from a few $100s to $4,000. So they can be very, very expensive in some cases. They're all online, they're video driven, they're well professionally assembled and put together. Our membership, if you're a student, being at $30, or an employed professional at less than $100, there's lots of great opportunity to continue to advance your career for just that cost of that membership.
Absolutely. And this is all thanks to our friends at AdvancedNet Labs. And Emily, just to point out, the certification that I put together is pretty weak, and we're looking forward to your magic and making the cert look a little bit better than that. Joe, you've done a great job in putting together some exciting classes, and I'm looking forward to being able to share those, at least the first version of them, at our March 12th meeting. So thank you.
Looking forward to the launch.
Yeah. So we literally just had a launch of Test Q from Augusta the night before today, last night. I unfortunately was not able to make it. Akshay was able to make it, said it's a pretty exciting technology. Just a couple of things that they do. They basically can take test scripts and product scripts and create test scripts from it. They can take videos of run-throughs of product and create the test script from the video without human hands. Now, obviously, as you get better and better at doing this, it's going to do it better. But it's really exciting stuff. So if you'd like any information about Augusta, come to the meeting on March 12th. They'll likely be there. Okay, and I think, Emily, you already covered the Mind and Machine event on March 3rd. If you're a member, you can take the email that you already received. If you are not a member and would like to attend the event, sign up as a member and reach out to somebody on the board, and we'll get that email to you. For those of you who do not know what I do culture and leadership development for corporations and individuals, and I offer a free assessment for you as an individual and where you sit on a cultural maturity model. It's a pretty exciting thing to do. It's really easy. It's just an hour with me, and I can tell you what I can do to help either your team or yourself. Emily, this is your slide, so I'll let you speak to it.
Sure. So I'm Emily Bell-Wooten. I've kind of changed the way that I present things. If you have an alignment problem in your business, I'm your gal. I'm a CMO. I've been worked with over 70 clients in 17 different industries, but I've also worked in technology. So I bridge the gap in between those two to be able to create seamless experiences. I'm a fractional CMO, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. But I also have an agency. I'm currently helping with SEO and GEO, helping people get ranked online. So if you're interested in those services, scan that QR code. It's a really great deal, and we get you on AI. And if you're not listed on AI, you're not showing up. So SEO is valuable, but it's out when it comes to the importance. Also, I'm on AITP, Mind and Machine, etc. So please do connect with me on LinkedIn. I post about all of the different events that I'm going to all the time, well connected, and I hope to be able to meet some people face to face at some of these events coming up.
Obviously. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm just sharing the link again for those of you who didn't see it before, jobseeker.pro/AITP. There's a special package that Brian created just for us. So thanks again, Brian.
Thank you.
And that means that we're at the end of the evening. So I just want to make sure that we haven't made it obvious enough yet. We would love to have you as a member. So go to www.aitplonestar.org and sign up as a member. Students are $30, professionals are $99, and you get all of the stuff that we've been talking about. Please join us next month, March 12th, whether you're a member or not, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. So everybody, thanks very much for coming out tonight. I know it's a long day for some of us, but I appreciate you, and I will see you next time at AITP Lone Star. All right, Godspeed. Bye-bye.